Hello, this is Yogeshwar, and we are going to be discussing a very interesting and very important topic in Vedic astrology today, which is about the characteristics of the zodiac signs. Now, this topic is extremely important because the ancient sages have classified the characteristics of various zodiac signs, and we will need this classification in going and studying the finer details of Vedic astrology. Just one example is that if you are going to make a Varga chart, which is a divisional chart, you have to know the characteristic of those planets and also the characteristics of those zodiac signs. And even in other finer details of Vedic astrology, you are going to be needing that classification which the ancient sages have described. And as you know, that these videos are about going into the basics and see what the ancient sages have said and then applying it to our day-to-day astrological, Vedic astrological readings, so that we do not get confused by the so-called Vedic astrologers who have kind of mixed Western with Eastern. So we are going to the basics, and it's imperative that we discuss about the classification of planets based on their characteristics as described by the great sages. So as you all know that the earth is made of 5 elements, and which is in Sanskrit called Panchabhuta. Pancha means 5 in Sanskrit, and Bhuta is the elements. And what are those 5 elements? The entire world, the entire earth is made of these 5 elements, just these 5 elements. Anything can be classified under these 5 elements. And these 5 elements are air, which is called Vayu in Sanskrit, fire, which is called Agni in Sanskrit, water, which is called Jal in Sanskrit, earth, which is called Prithvi in Sanskrit, and space, which is called Akasha in Sanskrit. So the entire earth is made of air, fire, water, earth, and space, or in Sanskrit, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, and Akasha. Space is described as Akasha. And as we know that the planets also are going to be classified based on these elements. And the Vedic sages understood this, and they did classify them. So here, as you will see on the screen, the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And like I said, these are all based on the 5 divisions or five classifications or 5 elements or Panchabhutas. And the air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So these are the classifications based on the Panchabhuta or the 5 elements which the ancient sages have described, and these are extremely important, like I said, in our Vedic readings, because as you go deeper and deeper into the finer aspects of Vedic astrology, you're going to need these classifications. Now, as far as the characteristics go, people who are born in the fiery sign will exhibit some kind of an aggressiveness, a lot of vitality, leadership qualities. So that's one characteristics. They are very, very independent and very assertive and very forceful and very ambitious. So people with these zodiac signs as an ascendant or as a moon sign, because like we have discussed in our previous videos, look at it from the ascendant as well as the moon sign. Moon because moon is the closest to the earth, and it has so much power that it can influence the oceans, and it can definitely influence the human mind as well. So look at it from the ascendant and also from the moon sign about the characteristics. So people born in fiery signs, which we have discussed, the fiery signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, either as an ascendant or as a moon sign, will be very full of vitality, will be like a leader, will be ambitious, will be having a lot of assertiveness in their characteristics. So these are the characteristics of a fiery sign. People who are born in earth signs are a little more stable. They're not as aggressive and assertive as the fiery signs. They're stable. They know the value of material wealth. They understand how to create wealth, and they seek their position in society and in their area of profession in a very stable and a balanced way. They're not as fiery as the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And like I said, look at it from the ascendant and look at it from the moon sign. Moon being the closest to the sun, closest to the earth, and therefore it has a big influence. Now, as far as the earth signs are concerned, they also are more business minded. Like I said, they are balanced and they go for their professions and seek their ambitions through a very balanced and stable way. And that's why they are pretty successful as far as, creating something is concerned. Now, as far as Aries signs are concerned, where people who are more poets, musicians, they fall under an airy sign or an air sign, as you see on the screen. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. These people are generally successful as far as as far as their professions are concerned, in music and poetry, so on and so forth. They are generally, very refined people, very, very refined human beings, meaning which they come across as very, very cultured people, rather, so as to say. They have a good intellect. They are intelligent people, and like I described, they excel in areas like music and poetry, so on and so forth. They're like artistic people. So we discussed about fiery, more aggressive. We discussed about the earth signs, which are, balanced, and they're like to create wealth in a very balanced and systematic and a pragmatic and a practical manner. And then the airy people are more artistic, and they're very, very well refined people, very well groomed people, intellectuals, rather, you can say. So look at it from the zodiac sign, from the ascendant as well as the moon sign. And then we come under the classification of a watery sign. And a watery sign, as you see on the screen, are represented by Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And these are very sensitive people. Water, well ruled by moon, very sensitive people. And they are sometimes a little psychic as well. And they're not very energetic, as you'll see in a fiery sign of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. They are more ruled by the kapha characteristics, if you want to classify them under an Ayurveda prakriti, and they like to be employed in places where liquids are involved, like liquids in shipping industry, fisheries because it's a water sign. But the main point here is that they are extremely sensitive people, and they often are not as aggressive, and sometimes, on the negative side, they lack energy as well. So they're water-like, very quiet, sensitive, water-like. So these are the classifications of the zodiac signs based on the elements of fire, earth, air, and water. And then, of course, we don't have any classification as far as Akasha is concerned, like space, which are out of the Panch Bhutas or five elements. So sages have described only four as far as the zodiac signs are concerned, and they have not allocated any classification to space or Akasha element. So we are clear here that what zodiac signs will fall under the fire, earth, air, and water signs, and what would be their characteristics. And people with these zodiac signs will behave in a certain way. So look at it from the ascendant as well as the moon. Now, another classification of the zodiac signs as per the ancient sages is movable, fixed, and dual. And we need to understand what is movable, what is a fixed sign, and what is a dual sign. And like I said, we're going to be needing this as you go more deeper and deeper into Vedic astrology, and if you start doing calculations and doing creating other charts. So you're going to be needing these classifications because they're rules which the ancient sages have given. And we need to know which signs are movable, which signs are fixed, and which signs are dual. Now, as far as the characteristics go, the movable signs basically are very aggressive signs, full of aggressiveness, ambition, enthusiasm, so on and so forth. Now, I will not classify them as fiery, but generally movable signs, and movable signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn people. Look at it from the ascendant as well as the moon sign. And you will see that these people have a lot of ambition and enthusiasm and energy and vitality and so on and so forth. Very bold people. Now, fixed signs are very hardworking people. Very, very hardworking people. And sometimes they will be a little rigid in attitude as well. They don't like to travel. They like to be at a same place because, as the name suggests, fixed sign. They don't want change at all. And mostly these people who are categorized under a fixed sign, like to have a ready or a permanent kind of a job, a regular permanent job where they can stay in for a long time. They don't like to change jobs. They're just stay where they are. They're very patient people. But on the negative side, yes, they sometimes become very rigid and cannot be convinced. And the fixed signs are classified as Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So look at it from the ascendant as well as from the moon sign. Now then, there's a third category described by the ancient sages, which is a dual sign. And people who are born with a dual sign, either as an ascendant or the moon sign, are like a pendulum. Very fickle-minded people. They keep changing. And the signs which fall under this category are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. You will see these people are dual. Flexible. Very flexible. Easy to convince. Very easy to convince. Can be swayed easily. And on the positive side, yes, they are flexible. It's good and easy to convince. On the negative side, they're fickle-minded. So everything has its positives and negatives. So however, another negative thing is that they lose their focus as far as their goals are concerned. because they are very, very, imaginative people. They imagine things can change, cannot be fixed on their goals. And unless you have a fixed goal, you cannot reach there, obviously. And they don't like to get into any quarrels or some kind of a discussion where there is a situation which can bring them in any kind of a controversial discussion or dispute. They generally, these people are very, very easygoing, not fixed on their goals, and sometimes they are very aimless in life without goals. So they keep wandering from here to there, and because they are fickle-minded, they are not sure. So these are the classifications of the planets as given by the ancient sages, and I've also described the characteristics based on these classifications, which are extremely important. Remember those, and like I said, you may need them when you go into the finer details of astrology for your further calculations. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we will be discussing another topic in our next video. In the meanwhile, check out my website. If you look down, there'll be a link to my website, and have a look. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I will try to answer you as best as I can. Thank you.